This month we've been doing a series about human relationships. The parents we did, spouses we did. So today, children. So I don't know if we'll answer Juanita's question, but perhaps we can touch on part of it. As you know, every time a child is born, there's only one energy that fills the family, the room, the consciousness of that environment, and that's excitement. Everyone is so thrilled and excited that this new baby's coming in, whether you're a distant aunt or the parent themselves. There's such a beautiful energy of wonder that occurs when a child is born. It's like they come in with this purity of spirit. They know God, they remember God, they're one with God, and they bring this beautiful gift of spirit into our world of physicality. And it's so exciting and so wonderful. And the parent is just so excited. And then the realization of responsibility sets in, almost immediately. Where now we have diapers to change and things to feed and bills to pay. And we become so aware of our need to take care of this beautiful child. Our focus almost shifts. We can still see the beautiful child, but we see the responsibility. Do you know what I'm saying? Oftentimes when you see a child in the world, it doesn't matter what age they are, from tiny to 10, 12, and you love that child. You see this strange child and you go, oh, what a beautiful child, how great you are. You see their eyes shining and sparkling. You ever notice someone else's child? It's like, oh, look how gorgeous you are. I bet you're just bringing something great to the world. And the parent looks at you and goes, yeah. I'm not sure. But what we as parents typically grow into is when we see our children, we see their needs. We see our child and we say, are you well fed? Have you been taken care of? Have you done your homework? Have you done this? Have you done that? Have you done this? Again, responsibility. And we miss that spark that others still see. When someone acknowledges your child or has in the past, did you ever go, yeah? You should see the other half. So often parents will tell me they're not this way at home. And I say, that's great, as long as they're this way here, I'm good. I'm happy with that. Children, how do we keep that beautiful wonder alive in the child? They have this essence, needs to be held and needs to be strong. So the choir sang a song that comes from Mark. It's Mark 10, 13 through 16. Let me just give you an overview. This is the example when Jesus was talking and teaching, of course, the receptive adults. And someone wanted to send the children in just to be in his presence, and his disciples said, no, the master's busy, excuse me, get the children downstairs. They need to go into their room, into their basement, We don't have time for them up here. And Jesus said, no, bring them to me, because my touch is very important to them. And he says, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a little child shall not enter in. And we've looked at that a lot in our Christian followings, and we've tried to understand what does it mean to become as a little child, and we think about the innocence of it, and what is innocence but merely a lack of understanding how to manipulate or navigate the outer world? Is that all that's required? Just the innocence. Is that all that's required? I don't know. Then in chapter 131 in the Aquarian, the disciples are fighting among themselves saying, who's the greatest? We wouldn't do that, would we? Oh, who's the greatest? And they're arguing, and this is what Jesus says. You men, for shame. The greatest is the servant of the rest. And then he called to him a little child, and he took it in his arms and said, the greatest is this little child. If you would be great at all, you must become as this child, in innocence, in truth, in purity, and in life. Great men who scorn the little things of earth and do not regard the child, scorn me. If you would enter through the kingdom, you must become humble as this little child. Innocent in purity and in life. I think innocence is something more than just a state of not knowing. it becomes this beautiful state of expressing. So when I was working with Spirit, they were trying to show me the energy of the child. The energy of the child. And when you think of children, what's the first thing you think of? Children play. Is that, children toys, children play. There's this beautiful thing about a natural state of a child is to play. And when we're little, the very first thing that we do in our play is we begin to imagine. Even the toddler who takes the little toys and puts them together and then creates another scenario in his mind and starts building something different. Little girls who take the little dolls and the dolls are now talking to you, talking to each other. And we start imagining all these scenarios, imaging in. And then when they get a little bit older, I don't know, in your world, in my world, it was cops and robbers and cowboys and Indians. And you'd imagine, and you'd get your little siblings and neighborhood kids, and then you'd get your teams, and you'd pretend in, And we spent more time setting up the pretend in than the action. You go here, then this will happen, you know what I'm saying? We're creating, okay, then we act it out, then we have to recreate it, because we need it bigger. And we're just exercising the imaging factor of our mind. How would it be as an adult if you never pretended as a child? How would it be if you never actually gave yourself permission to play with that imaging? To just play. Learning to dream in and pretending helps our boundaries expand. Imaging. Would you take that from a child? No. The next thing a child loves to do is experience life. They love to experience it, don't they? In our world, in my world, I'm more familiar with the mothers that say, okay, you can go play outside. Don't get dirty. Don't go here, don't go there, and don't go there. Okay. Now, just do that. And then when the child comes in dirty, the mother says, oh, what is wrong with you? I told you what to do. What is wrong with you? You're dirty. Can't I send you out for an afternoon and you not come back dirty?
Definitely.
You're sending them out to play in Mother Earth, to play on the land. What if we as parents sent our children out and said, now look, you know where you need to play, and I expect you to be as dirty as possible. And when they come to the door to come in, you're not dirty enough. There's no bruises, no grass stains, and no blood. Get back out there. You cannot come back in until you have thoroughly enjoyed yourself and thoroughly messed up your attire. Really go play. And I would love that if you go play. How many parents, when the child does come in, dusty, dirty, it does say, did you have a good time? They'll say, what have you been doing? You know? Children have to experience, and they need the freedom to experience. They need the freedom to go out into the world and to get as dirty as possible in the safety of the parental umbrella. Do you understand? They're safe when they're doing that. They're absolutely safe. I know as my child is an adult, he's finally gotten to the point where he's told me some of the things that he's done as a child. Because I was not that happy mother that said, please go get dirty. I remember when he was in the first grade, I came home one afternoon and there were his school pictures, and I was so great. He's in first grade, got his school pictures, and I opened up his class photo, and there's my son on the corner, not hidden behind, not on the second row, but on the corner, in hiking boots that are too big for him, jeans that are torn and as muddy and dirty as they can be, and a flannel shirt. I went into shock. I said, what? You don't own these clothes. Where did you get those clothes? What are you doing? What happened to you? And I was livid. You know, you get to that point where you're not angry anymore. You're just like, and the child's terrified. And he said, I said, how could you have done this without me knowing? How could you have gone to school dressed like this? Well, you were out of town. Where was Patrick? Patrick didn't care. You know who else is in trouble now? What were you thinking? Where did these clothes come from? And he was in the downline of his cousins. And so I would get his cousins' clothing. We'd put him in an age group, put him in the closet. When he got big enough to wear them, we'd call it out and see what he could wear and what would go to Goodwill. Well, my son decided that morning, since I was gone, that he could dress himself. And he had gone into a bag in the back of the closet, which was too big for him. And he had come up with quite the cohesive ensemble. He looked like a hobo child. And at first I was very angry with him because it would not have happened under my watch. And then I was embarrassed because he had ruined the class picture for all his other friends. And they're just like shining, you know, they look clean. Their mommies had sent them nice and clean and matching, and they're all shining. They're shining. And it really bothered me. And I just kept looking at that picture, and looking at that picture, and I just kept going back to the light in his eyes. The light in his eyes. He was so happy. I have not seen that light in his eyes, so free. And eventually it did become my favorite picture, because he wasn't dressed up to please me. He was dressed to please himself. Had I been more awake and aware as a mother, I might have then begun to instill a day once a week or once every 2 weeks where he could dress himself. Do you know? If I had been wise enough, I might have said, well, honey, it's obvious that our tastes are different. You dress for me these days a week, and one day a week, be the hobo. You know? And today, I would do that. Today, at the age of a grandmother, I would do that. But as a mom, I just didn't know. Think about all the times our creativity, our need to experience, kind of gets squelched by those who have experienced life before us. You know, the world. So, children need to imagine, and children need to experience. We need to get dirty. We need to get our hands dirty. We need to go out and cut ourselves and cry and come back to the comfort of our parent. We need that to be us, to know who we are. And the third thing that comes from this need to experience, if you're experiencing and you're imaging, what's the natural byproduct but creation? Think about when you're a kid. Think about when you came together as a child, when you're a little bit older now, and now there's this spontaneous eruption of a neighborhood football game or a neighborhood basketball. You know, do you know what I'm saying? Where it's just spontaneous, it's an eruption, and it's just so fun. There's nothing more fun than to have at least a dozen kids in the neighborhood throwing water balloons at each other. It is the best in the world. It's so fun. There's no one to win. There's no one creating rules. There's no adult telling you did good or did bad. You're just soaking each other. Creation. Creation. You know what children realize? I create better with my buddies. I am not in this alone. I can bring all my imaging, all my experiences, and we can come together and create something fabulous. Do y'all remember playing like that? Mm-hmm. When I was little, I had a dictatorial father. You all have heard me many times talk about that. God was with me, though. When I was 10 years old, we moved to Las Vegas, and my father was in charge of security at the Nevada test site, which is it's 60 miles away from the city. And he was in charge of security, so he had to be there 24/7. So Monday through Friday, he was not home. It took me probably the better part of a year to realize he's not coming home. I can finally breathe. And for 2 glorious summers and the better part of 2 years, I got to be a child. Now, every weekend was punishment, but it was worth it. Being free. We lived in the desert. You could look far out and way, way far away, a little bitty line of mountains, and it was flat land. It was miles. You really had no concept of distance, desert, right outside my house, desert behind my house. It was manna from heaven, just to go and play, to catch lizards, to throw rocks, to build desert forts that to the untrained eye look like a pile of rocks as well. But it was full of imagination and full of experiences and full of creativity. And that little bit of time was enough for my spirit to grow. Remember your little bit of time. How do we pass that on to our babies in this world? This world that runs so fast. This world that is so regimented in expectations. I think one of the greatest things that we do to children is we expect them to be adults long before they're capable of being adults. And if we ask this child who has not learned to image, to experience, and create, to be an adult, we've now hindered their path when they do become one. They're only able to follow. They're not able to be. This beautiful spirit of God, this innocence that Jesus talks about and that we see at the time a child is born, this beautiful innocence is what expresses every time we create. It's not a not knowing how to navigate. It's an expression of the beauty of our spirits. Do you know what I'm talking about? When you have something come through you that is so profound, so fun, it could be making something, it could be creating something, it could be just doing a fabulous job. But your spirit has done it. Do you not feel like the innocent child? So celebratory, so happy. That's that spark of divinity within you. Our childlike energy is so important. As parents, we agree to provide a safe and nurturing place for our children to grow into good adults. But the best way is to let them follow the natural path of childhood. And that way they will never be disconnected from their spirits. They will learn to navigate the world without, and they will not give up their hearts in the process. When we treat them like adults, we're asking them to be like us. Children do want to be like their parents. We definitely are molded by our parents. But perhaps if we could, as adults, go back to the childlike qualities, the imaging, the expressing, and the creating, we might touch the spark of the divinity that we brought here to share. And then we might feel our connection to our true Father, Mother, God. And then we might begin to know ourselves as His child. That divine spark. We've had so many parents in so many lifetimes teaching us so many things. But we are all children of God. And we have these innate abilities to create within us. But they start with the path of the child. I've always had this vision of a world in the future where a child is born and the parents say to that child, "Oh, it's your turn. It's your turn to come to the earth. How fabulous. Now, we're going to teach you everything we know so far. And then you're going to show us what you came to give." And that's how our world will be. Every child will be welcomed as if they're bringing a gift. And they'll be taught what we know. Not that it is the end, but it is their beginning. And then we'll listen for what they want to teach us. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world where everyone can truly become that God-child? Whether you have had children or not, you still parent the child within you. Do you know that? Whether you've had children or not, this child within you, you still parent. You tell it to be quiet. You tell it, what are you thinking? What is wrong with you? You tell it, go get dirty. You tell it, go have fun. Go image in, go create. So there's always an opportunity to work and to encourage the growth of this Christed child within you. Do you want to do that? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's put our feet on the floor. Let's take a breath and see a beautiful light come over you. I want you to feel the love of Jesus Christ standing by your side and feel the presence of your own heart. And allow your focus to go to the heart center Feel yourself safe. And I want you to imagine now, right where you sit, right in this moment, imagine that you can see yourself when you were somewhere between 7 and 10, whatever age is appropriate. I want you to see yourself appearing in your mind's eye now. Image it in. Doesn't matter if it's accurate or not. Get a vision of yourself. You're a child. You're safe. Notice if your child is happy, concerned. Is that child a playful child? Does it trust? I want you to let your love move to that child. And as you are an adult to that child, the child listens to you. Tell the child that you want it to begin to dream again, to dream in possibilities and truth. I give you permission, I want you, I encourage you to begin to image in, pretend and play all you want. So just watch the child's face as you give them permission to do this. And then, I give you permission, I encourage you to experience life, to get dirty, to be all that you want to be, to have experiences that do not create damage or hurt to your spirit, but experiences you want. You want. And just watch the child. And I give you permission and I encourage you to create. Create good things for your life. Create things that make your heart sing. Create. Just watch the child and let the child see Jesus Christ by your side. And let the child go to the Christ. Feeling that love. You are a child of God. Feel the quickening of the original joy at the child's birth. You are a child of God. And as the Christ blesses the child, just breathe and feel that child coming back into your heart center, coming back into who you are. Feel the love surrounding you. Father, Mother God, we open truly. We ask to awaken to that reality that we are here to express that which is within. We are here to be love and to be awake. And we ask that you be with us as every good parent is, guiding us and enjoying us. And we thank you for this. Feel the love. Feel the peace with that child within your heart. And feel that you are steady in the heart of God. Breathe. Notice the chair as it holds you. And before you open your eyes, I want you just to image in any child that is part of your world. Whether it is a natural born child, a child you love. We all have children in our world. Send a ray of your love and hope to that child. I honor you in your uniqueness to be. and feel how good it does feel to share. Let them go. Take a breath. Back in your body. And gently open your eyes. So as you walk this week, I would ask you to do two things if you'd like. Homework. The first is a child in your world. Take a moment to encourage their creativity. The second is your inner child. Take a moment to encourage its creativity. And see how wonderful it feels to touch that divine spark.